Hey, it's JP here. We're down in Hollywood. I've got Genevieve here with me.
Hi.
We're going to take a look at how to create bokeh. It's a great place to do it because there's so many lights around us. We've joined 3,000 or 4,000 of our closest friends from all over the United States who came here for a little better weather. So why not come down here and shoot bokeh? So bokeh really is a Japanese word that means haze or blur. But let's look at just that beautiful bokeh, the round kind of out of focus light in the background. Let's see how you can create it with different lenses. Let's just see exactly what gives you the best bokeh. So let's get started, see what we can do. So there's several principles that make getting bokeh really simple. Number one is shoot with a shallow aperture. If you're at 2.8 or even shallower, then the background's gonna fall out of focus much quicker and you're gonna get more beautiful bokeh. So if I'm at 200 millimeters here and I shoot into those lights underneath the theater, I get beautiful rows of bokeh back there. It's just beautiful lights just all stacked up behind her because I'm at 200 millimeters and I'm very, very close to her. The closer I get to her, the larger that bokeh is going to become. So if I come in here, it compresses a distance between her and the bokeh just becomes larger. If I go to 100 millimeters, I've got to get really close to her to get that same bokeh. So even at 100 millimeters and I've gotten closer to her and keeping her head about the same size, the bokeh pushes further back because of the perspective change. So the bokeh is not as large. So a longer lens is going to give you more bokeh more easily. 2.8 on 100 is very different than 2.8 at 200 when the head is the same size in the frame. It's also a bit about the distance of the lights from the subject. That's another principle. The closer they are to the subject, the shallower you're going to need the depth of field to be, but the larger the bokeh is going to become. So even if I get really close to that 50 millimeter lens, the bokeh, the lights are so far back there, it's hard to create nice bokeh. I'd have to get really super close to the bokeh, so I'm going to change my distance here. I'm going to move in closer, get closer to those lights so that 50 millimeter will start to give me a better blur in the background. So I've gotten closer to those lights and I'm keeping her head the same size in the frame. But what's happened is I'm so close to the lights now they're not blurring. So even with that 50 millimeter lens, the lights are just too close to me. That's the first kind of bokeh. It's pinpoint lights. Here's a bokeh that I like even better, and that is when I stand up, I'm gonna look down this street and all those lights, everything down there is gonna turn into just a mush, a beautiful kind of bokeh. So I'm gonna do that right now. Look at that background, it's just beautiful. Everything falls out of focus. It's somewhat defined, but it's not overly defined. It's just a beautiful, beautiful look. I love that type of bokeh where it just falls out of that haze, that blur. It just looks so amazing to me. I could shoot that all day long. Now I'm gonna go back to a longer lens. Look at that 100 millimeter lens. Everything is just turning into this beautiful painterly background. It looks a beautiful look. If I go to 200, I'm gonna probably just get really, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna be so happy. Here we go. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's just everything down there, all those lights just turn into a beautiful haze. It has a very painterly look and I think it's gorgeous. That's the kind of bokeh I think is amazing. The pinpoint lights are great, you know, reminds me of Christmas and Hallmark movies, but that kind of long look at just beautiful kind of soft lights turn into a gorgeous bokeh, that's the stuff I think is amazing.
We had a young man show up in Reno. He's dealing with some challenges in life. And he came out the year before and he was only able to do the tower. He came out this year, he was able to get the whole way to the hose drag the first day. South Davis Metro in Utah agreed to run a relay with him. At the start line, they were trying to figure out whose team he was running on, and they were fighting over whose team, who got him. I can't tell you how inspirational it was for everyone to just embrace this young man and allow him to feel that taste of victory and team. SKB is a great fit for firefighters because they're a little rough, these guys. So SKB is an excellent fit to keep anything they need to take care of safe.
So when I look back this direction, I'm looking into all the lights of the cars that are coming towards me. And they're far enough back there that they give me that kind of a cross between that really soft painterly lights, bokeh, and pinpoint lights. But they're so far back, they just turn into this beautiful kind of look. And it's more high key, it's just a beautiful look. So I'm gonna shoot some of those at 200, 150, and just see what you think. So two things start to happen. When I'm on a 100 millimeter lens, it's really a nice look at the face. When I go to 200, it flattens the face a little bit. But when I go to 50 and I get in close to match the head size, the face starts to elongate, the nose starts to elongate. It's not the most flattering look for a face, especially that tight. So if you want a nice bokeh, it's better to stay around 85. 85 and above, I think, is a nice look at the face and a nice look at the bokeh in the background. If you get to a 50 millimeter, it's like a 1.2, it can give you some beautiful bokeh as you shoot into that really wide open end of that 50 millimeter. That'll give you a great look. So what I'm looking for is any kind of light sources. The car lights as they drive towards you. I love looking down a street because all of those street lights and the cars, as you get on the side of the street where the cars are coming towards you, look absolutely beautiful. I'm looking for the shop lights, any of the businesses as I look down the street. Those are all going to create a really creamy, beautiful looking bokeh in the background. The deeper and further back there you can get, the more beautiful it becomes. So any type of look. Julene just held her phone up. I saw this done once where a person had like 10 people hold their phones up behind the model and they took a picture, had all this beautiful bokeh behind the model. So pinpoint light sources into deep light sources create beautiful bokeh. In fact, I'm gonna have Genevieve move right over here. I'm gonna look way down the street, come over a little more, looking way down the street towards the, there we go, towards the street lights. Look at that, look at that. That's awesome. I can see street lights way down there. You see the red, you see the green. So as she walks towards me in the street, it is so deep back there that everything just starts to blur around her and gives you beautiful bokeh. Even in a full body shot on a 200 millimeter lens, everything just falls beautifully out of focus. So it's a beautiful look. Why do I like bokeh? Several reasons. Number one, it creates a simple background, because everything back there that I would see definition in, signs I would read, all that kind of stuff just goes blurry and goes out of focus. It creates a beautiful, soft, out of focus background. Creates simplicity, a great composition principle in my image. Number two, it's just beautiful. See how excited they are about the bokeh in my shot? They can't hold it down. This is the perfect lighting situation. We are in total open shade, but there's a bright spot in the sky where the sun's going down. So if I look this way, it's going to give us beautiful light on her face. There's a bright building on that end of the street that's bouncing light back. So it's going to give us beautiful light on her face. So I can shoot either direction. I can shoot almost in 360 here and it's going to look gorgeous. It'll last this way for 30 or 40 minutes. It'll look wonderful, but then that building will probably die first. That bright sky will be the last to go, so I have to start looking back that direction as we go. It's about the last hour and a half before the sun goes down. That's the time to shoot. Then as the sun dims, the brightness of all the street lights here become more pronounced and the bokeh becomes more beautiful. So there's my lighting situation. I love shooting this right here. It's a gorgeous time of day to shoot. So as we're walking down the street, I'm looking for just pinpoint light sources. I'm looking for any kind of light reflections. There's a little place back here I looked right into. There's rows of light, look beautiful. A little further down, reflection of all of the billboards across the street were reflected in the glass of the windows. Gave a beautiful bokeh, a beautiful look. So just looking for that as we walk down the street. Different businesses, there's different lighting. And of course the light's gotten really nice right now, so everything kind of looks amazing. So that's what we're looking for. So we just slipped inside this little hotel and they have all kinds of twinkle lights on the trees. Shot some shots of Genevieve there. I mean, it just looks so Christmassy. It's those pinpoint lights. It's not my favorite look, but it's a beautiful look and people do it all the time using bokeh, just creating it with twinkle lights. Use one of those nets, you know, so you have a kind of a nice pattern in the background for a portrait. That's a great way to create bokeh in the studio. You can put that further or closer to the subject, and that changes the size and how out of focus it is. So it's a great way to get bokeh, it really is. But it doesn't give you that really soft kind of depth that you get like shooting out on the street or something like that. So So let's wrap this up. There's some of the principles on how you can create bokeh, why you would create bokeh, and where you can find good bokeh as you go around and shoot. It's a wonderful experience. It gives you simple, beautiful images, simple composition. I think it's really a desirable way to shoot. So I hope you enjoyed this and you keep those cameras rolling.
And keep on clicking.